Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining today's webinar. Myself, Pravati Agarwal. I'm the Business Development Associate at Threatsys Technologies. So, before we dive into the core section, I'll just introduce our company a little bit. So, Threatsys Technologies is India's leading cybersecurity companies, and with over 15 years of expertise, we are committed to delivering solutions that not only exceed the client's limits, but they fulfill their ever-evolving demands. So we provide 360-degree solutions, which involves end-to-end cybersecurity solutions, starting from testing to compliance to SOC to red team. You just name it and we can deliver. Here at Threatsys, we don't just believe that one size fits all approach. We actually customize each and every solution according to the client's ever-evolving demands, their risk profiles, or their environments, or their specific needs. We have delivered over 6,000 projects and safeguarded more than 1 billion transactions annually. So I'll just present you a presentation through which you can get a clearer idea of what today's topic is and what other things. So, as I've already given you a brief about our company, it is mentioned over here we are specializing in 360-degree services. It is mentioned that cybersecurity testing, compliance, or consultation services, and we have a team of expert ethical hackers and specialists who can protect your every digital infrastructure through cybersecurity, many services. And moving further. As I've already mentioned, we have delivered over 6,000 projects. We have 125 experts. We have partnered with many countries and many clients across over the years. And we have delivered many DPDP projects, as you can see, it's mentioned in the presentation. So next. Okay. So now coming to the digital personal data protection, like what it actually comprises of. Let's understand the framework completely. First, it is mentioned safeguarding user data. So businesses are now required to implement stronger security measures to protect the personal data. Like businesses nowadays require so much personal data, including their phone numbers, their addresses, their emails, which can easily get hacked or which can be like taken. So for that, organizations need to protect the data, not only their organizations but also the third party or the partners. They need to protect the data. This means that they need to have a better control. They have to have stronger monitoring abilities and more data lifecycle. Then, Data Protection Board Authority. So, this act introduces a first digital regulation body which can summon the organizations. They can examine incidents, they can recommend penalties for breaches. They basically ensure that faster, transparent, and more structured enforcement of the data is present in an organization, which builds up the client's trust on an organization and the client pays. For the next point, it is minor consent. So when it comes to children or individuals who have disabilities, it is important for organizations to take certain permissions or approval from any guardian or their parents and do not process any data before taking such consent, which makes the data more secure. For the fourth point, it is appointing a data protection officer. So for certain organizations, especially those which secure a large volume of data or who handles personal data, sensitive data of clients, they require a data protection officer dedicated to this specific organization. They ensure compliance, transparency, and they maintain the main point of contact for the user grievances, any kinds of problems they face, any troubles. So the next is control transfers. So for any cross-border data transfer outside the country, it is monitored and regulated by the central government. This ensures that the Indian citizen data it is protected even when it is processed outside the country, outside the boundaries of our own country. Then comes rapid breach alert. So in case of any data breach, the organization must notify both the parties, like the data protection board and also the affected individual. This emphasizes on rapid communication. It also helps the users to take immediate precautions so that they can recover their data or safeguard their data. Then comes hefty penalties. So if you don't comply this, so you can face a lot of penalties which can sum up to 250 crores. It depends on the severity of the violation, like how much data is being breached or what kind of organization you're dealing with. And underlines the seriousness of ensuring that the data security and responsible processing is present in an organization. And the last point is fair appeal. So if an organization disagrees with the decision of the Data Protection Board, it can approach telecommunication dispute settlements. This builds a transparent and it gives a balanced system for dispute resolutions. So overall, this is how Data Protection Act is designed to protect individuals and hold organizations responsible for the data, the kind of sensitive data they're dealing with, and how they can protect it from their customers. So the next slide tells you about the evolution of the DPDP Act from the very beginning to the latest rules. Starting with 2017, this was the year when the Supreme Court of India declared the right to privacy as a fundamental right. The single judgment created the foundation for India's data protection journey, and it made clear that the citizens' personal data must be protected by the law. Then in 2018, the first draft of DPDP was introduced. So this was India's earliest attempt to define how the organizations should collect, store, process their data, and how they should apply the privacy regulations to their organization so they can protect the sensitive data of the customers. This then comes between 2019 and 2022. So a lot of activities took place between these years. The bill was passed through several rounds of revisions. Public consultation was taken. Intense debates were held around topic like data localization or compliance regulation for businesses, etc. So these years they helped refine the law of compliance, and it took industry feedback and just summed up the global practices that they can apply on the organization. And then comes 2023. Finally, here the DPDP was introduced. Replacing all the previous drafts, the DPDP bill came into action. This act is more simpler, it is more practical, it is more understandable for the common man or the organizations. It is designed to show how rapidly digitalizing economy is, and it sets a new legal standard for how personal data must be handled in India. So this timeline shows a basic summary of India's privacy framework and everything. But now comes the new rules, new set of rules, that is 2025. This slide shows you the new rules or the foundation framework for DPDP. First, these rules they go November 2025, which means that the Digital Data Personal Protection Act 2023 has now just transitioned itself from being just a legal framework to a full-scale implementation across the country. What really stand out in this framework was that it was not just created in a closed door or behind closed doors. It was the government conducted one of largest India's consultation, and 6,915 inputs were taken from startups, from enterprises, from MSMEs, from civil services, and from citizens across 10 countries, and their inputs were taken, and this protection came into act. So what we have today is a law that which is both technologically up to date, and it is also practical for organizations from every size, from small organizations to a large organizations sharing or handling any kinds of data. The next, it is also a strong foundation for framework is the SARAL principle, which stands for simple, accessible, rational, and actionable. The whole idea is to make the compliance straightforward, not overwhelming the individuals, so that they can clearly understand what it speaks for, what organizations' responsibilities are, and how they need to work on it. And at the core of this ecosystem is the Data Protection Board of India. It is a fully digitalized authority. This board is responsible to oversee the complete compliance process, handle user complaints or grievances, issue directives, and ensure that the organization follows a proactive approach to data protection. They handle every single process and every single customer complaint based on the queries. So overall, this explains that DPDP is not just another regulation. It is a citizen-first, technologically friendly, and implementation-friendly design network designed for every single organization, every single individual facing any problems related to their digital personal data. So the next slide. The next slide would tell you about the complete blueprint, what organizations need to follow step by step, like what the government has ordered for the organizations to follow. So first, the government has provided an 18-month phased compliance window. Like this recognizes the government knows that the different organizations may take different times to have their setup, to change their data, to redesign the systems, upgrade it, and to strengthen the governance of their data. So 18-month period is provided for them, and a major area for the specific purpose is the consent. Like businesses must clearly explain what kind of data they are collecting from the customers, when they are collecting, how they're storing their data, and how it is used. And consent is really important when it comes to personal customer data. Also, consent managers are hired for every organization with who must operate within India to make sure that there is accountability and faster customer support to customers regard having their client queries or any grievances. Next, we have a mandatory breach notification. So if there is any kind of breach or break in the system, the organizations must inform both the parties immediately, that is the affected individual and the data protection board. This can help in creating a stronger communication. It helps in data overflow, and also that the customers can they can resolve their accounts, they can change their passwords, they can secure their accounts in their manners effective immediately. Then we have organization accountability. Every organization must display clear contact information for any data related queries or complaints. But for significant data fiduciaries, the exceptions are there. Like they need to conduct independent annual audit, they need to have data protection impact assessments, they need to have periodic risk reviews, and also they need to maintain a stronger administrative and technical controls. So then comes rights of individuals. The citizens' rights are kept at most important in this act when it comes to the new rules. Their consent, their requirements are kept at the first. So for citizens, the law expands to user rights. Like people can now access their data, they can correct or update their inaccuracies, they can request, they can even nominate someone to exercise these rights on their behalf. So the organizations they have to respond to these queries within the framework of 90 days or below. So overall direction from the government is very clear. They have to maintain transparency. They have to regulate stronger governance. They have to have more powers in the hands of individuals or customers who trust their organizations and invest their time and money into any organization. So these are the frameworks of the new rule. The most important point which comes to the next slide is the consequence of what the organizations can face, both financially and operational impact. This is the most important point that the organizations need to focus on. Now, the impacts, first we'll talk about the financial penalties. The penalties are structured to ensure the accountability of the organizations that they need to follow this principle. So up to 250 crores or more for not implementing reasonable security safeguards or for failing to prevent the breaches. Up to 200 crores for failing to notify breaches or for violating any children's personal data or anybody with disabilities, and up to 50 crores for any other violations, which includes issues with consent or delay in responding to customer queries or the redressals. Any kind of data, 50 crores. So these were the hefty penalties that will be charged from the government to the organizations if they do not follow the DPDP new rules. These numbers make it very clear that DPDP compliance is not just optional, it is now necessary for every organization to implement it to their rules. And these were just the penalties. Now, beyond penalties is the impacts, like the operational impacts that the organization have to strengthen, which includes like data governance frameworks, audit readiness, data retention, delegation, breach response mechanism, and even vendors and third-party risk management. These also means that investing in better tools, providing training programs to the teams, improving coordination from every department of your organization, including IT, HR, security, business units, etc. The good news is that the benefits of a longer term, like stronger data management, it can help you build customer trust. It can enhance your brand reputation. It can reduce the cost of breach, support for global partnerships. It can enable organization to innovate with a confidence that their customers have a delicate amount of trust on them, and the customers know that how the organizations are managing their personal and private data. And Moreover, MSMEs, civil society groups, and across 10 major cities, the rules reflect a truly inclusive policy. Like this ensures that the act is not only technical, but it is relevant practically across organizations of all sizes. Not only big organizations, but every small organization that handle customer data. A unique feature of this rule is the SARAL principle, which helps ensure that the compliance doesn't become a bureaucratic burden. Like organizations can easily implement it and individuals even. Um, Another key pillar of data protection is it is fully digital and independent authority. The board ensures that the actions are taken, proactive measures are taken, and the data protection is done before incidents occur. So overall, this slide establishes that the DPDP should not be merely viewed as a regulatory obligation. It is an opportunity for organizations to modernize their approach for data protection, adopt global best practices, upgrade their tools, technologies that they use, build more secure, transparent, and trustworthy digital ecosystem for India, and apply the rules to their organizations as soon as possible. So that's all from my side. Now, my colleague Arish, who is our operation engineer, will continue further and explain you how the organizations adopt it or how we can help you for this practice. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you, Pragati, for explaining all the important things. So from this point, I will walk you through the Threatsys DPDP framework. So our model for making an organization fully DPDP compliant. So this framework shows us how we understand data, controls it, secure it, and aligns it fully with the DPDP. So I can give you an example. So if a company collects one number but does not track why they collected it, it is a DPDP violation. So our framework catches issues like this earlier. So we can move to the next slide. It's privacy management framework. So this slide shows us 12 category privacy management framework. So I can give you some examples like data collection. Or it says if you collect more personal data than required, DPDP calls it unnecessary collection. So for the purpose limitation, it says if data collected for logging is later used for marketing without consent, that breaks DPDP. So for the access control, it says every employee can be see user data. DPDP will not accept this. So for the user rights, it says if a user requests data deletion, the company must respond within 90 days. So for the retention, it says if you could keep data longer than needed, it violates DPDP. So the next slide will be certification and the accreditation. These are some certification shows that our methods match global standards like GDPR, ISO, SOC 2, 13. This is important because DPDP accepts strong governance and strong security. Uh, for example, if security is weak, uh, a breach happens. So DPDP can impose a penalty up to 250 crores. That is why our certified processes help prevent that. So next slide is the DPDP compliance methodology. Sorry for some issues. So now let us do some how we implement the DPDP step by step. So for the phase one, discover and assess. So here we identify all the personal data, what you collect, why you collect it, and where it flows, and who handles it. So some examples like unnecessary data collection, no reason purpose defined, and data sitting in old systems, and data shared with vendors without agreements. So phase two is the design and strategy. So we create policies, notices, constant flows, and a complete DPDP design for the organization. So here is an example. If a company has no workflow for replying to user rights, so we design the workflow. So the phase three is implement and operationalize. So we make everything work, data controls, constant banner, and access controls, logs and deletion process. So if the CRM still stores the data of users, so who deleted their account, we can fix it. So phase four is the monitor and sustain. So we can run audits, reviews, trainings, and checks to make some sure DPDP compliance stay active. So DPDP is not one time. It expects constant updates, especially when processes change. So next slide is key deliverable. So the first one is gap assessment report. So this report shows all the DPDP gaps in the organization, what is compliant, what is not, and what must be fixed. So some examples like missing consent records, no breach notification process, and user data stored for a long time, and data shared with the old users. So this report becomes the foundation for a full DPDP project. So the second one is privacy policy and notice drafting. So DPDP requires a simple, clear privacy notice. So we prepare policy that match your real data practices, not generic templates. So they must give purpose-wise notice for login, purpose-wise notice for marketing, and retention period mentioned clearly, and the rights must explain simply. So if a privacy notice needs a lawyer to understand, DPDP will reject it. So the third one is consent management framework. Uh, it means consent must be clear, purpose-based, and easy to withdraw. So it says like not pre-ticket, consents allowed, user must be able to withdraw anytime, consent logs must be stored as a proof, and marketing consent must be separate. So if a user withdraw consent but still receive emails, this is the DPDP. So the first one is audit report and the certificate. So once everything is implemented, so we do a DPDP audit and issue a certificate of compliance, where we provide evidence of consent, evidence of user rights handling, security controls, breach plan, and vendor compliance. So this certificate proves to client and regulators that company flows DPDP properly. So next slide is global testimonials. So we have delivered privacy and security work in 30 plus countries. So this experience helps us bring strong and clean processes into DPDP projects. So many DPDP requirements already exist in GDPR. We have years of experience implementing those controls. So why you can choose? So here is the organization chooses from the DPDP. So first one is strong privacy experience. We have the strong privacy experience because we already understand personal data controls at a deep level. So the second, we have the complete services for the cybersecurity, from the assessment to policy to implementation, to cover everything. So third one is we are fast and structured process. Our steps are clear, quick, and with no confusion. And the fourth one is real implementation and not paperwork, because we build actually working system, not just create documents. So the next slide is our service service portfolio. So these are all the services we offer, covering cybersecurity testing, privacy compliance, managed security, and many more. So DPDP is a key part of overall security ecosystem. So before I finish, I want to show how we start with the DPDP project, and that is with a scoping sheet. Let me share the scoping sheet. So the scoping sheet helps us understand your data clearly. We document what personal data you collect, why you collect it, which team handle it, uh, which tools or system stores it, and which vendors receives it, how long it stays, and what processes are involved. So this gives us a complete picture before starting a compliance. So I can give you an example. That if a company collects phone number only for OTP, so but you uses them later for marketing, the scoping sheet catches this instantly. So this is from our side. So if if you have any questions regarding this DPDP Act, so you can ask in the comment section. So here is the question from Subham Kumar. What mechanisms are in place to ensure consent management meets the updated rule requirements? Uh, we have to implement a structured consent management framework that ensure consent is free, specific, informed, and unconditional, and unambiguous as required by the DPDP rules. So our system capture content digitally and maintains verifiable logs and allows the users to withdraw the consent at any time. So and notices and consents form have been updated to align with the latest regulatory standard. And next questions. Ayush Patra. So has your organization identified all the personal data processing activity as required under the new DPDP rules? Yes, we have conducted a comprehensive data mapping exercise to identify all the personal data processing activities across departments. This includes the collections, storage, transfers, and the deletion of personal data. So all the processing activities are documented within our records of processing activities register. So which is updated periodically to ensure compliance with the DPDP rules. Are you clear, Ayush Patra? So this is all from our side for the DPDP Act. Thank you so much for your time. DPDP is a major shift in our organization with the right framework, clean processes, and correct scope, and the compliance becomes simple and powerful. So we look forward to working with any team and any organization to achieve full DPDP compliance. Thank you.